be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
34 Fairview. If John was beaten up and attacked in that house, who did it?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Son Colin. Oh, I can't wait to see Colin. I'm gonna have a lot of questions for Colin. And something tells me he won't be able to control his temper like you did. He can get some. He can get some too. There won't be a dog there to back him up this time. I'm not afraid of your stupid son. Believe me, I could kick the shit out of your stupid son. So please, please.
The defense chose a strategy, a very strategic strategy, to sell their story and disseminate to the public, potential jury pool, in a way they thought best fit their needs. And they've done this continually.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna go strong. We're gonna focus all over.
And Chris and Jen especially were the most involved afterwards in like covering this up because their kids are involved. You know,
Right.
their kid, they had the most to lose here. Whereas Brian Albert kept more of a low profile, and Higgins just dropped off the face of the earth, and nobody talked about him.
Yeah. Put like Fort Knox apparently around his house because how he knew you were driving by. And I mean, that was a crazy story.
That was wild. And it's just really, it has to be, we have to constantly remind people that Colin Albert was involved in the murder of John O'Keefe.
Okay, you're aware he was beaten up by Brian and Colin Albert. I mean, we're all in on the same joke, right?
So did you go in reverse 24 miles an hour, 53 feet?
The data is what the data is.
So did you go in reverse 24 miles an hour, 53 feet?
The data is what the data is.
Hey, everybody. We are here with the forensic room tonight, and we actually have our four ladies.
Four square.
Four square tonight, fulfilling Kevin's prophecy. I am Lydia. I have Julie here. Mama Llama.
Hello.
And Tuesday Gazette. And we have with us tonight a much anticipated guest. I know all of you guys have been responding to us and emailing us and commenting about how excited you are about this guest tonight. So we would like to introduce to you Chris Albert.
Hey.
Hey guys.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
You guys all doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
How about you?
To see you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Nice to finally see you face to face.
Yeah, this is really nice.
Yeah, a little different than the Twitterverse where everything's just black and white.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming on with us. I know you are a big guy.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet.
So I know we're going to have, kind of a conversation tonight, Chris, and, not really an interview, but, we'll definitely get some questions and things like that going. But I kind of wanted to start with, the fact that you mostly stayed silent on social media and really in the media until you briefly joined a Spaces conversation the other night. And during that conversation, there were some really disturbing comments made, not by you, but by someone else towards a certain blogger. And at the request of Jenna Matt McCabe and Brian and Nicole Albert and Brian Higgins, I publicly stated the other night on our show, they found those comments appalling and that they did not condone them, as we all did as well. I would think anyone would. And we did it. I did address that, like I said, a few days ago. You, of course, did nothing wrong. And despite what the mob claims, they do not control witnesses for who you choose to talk to or when you choose to talk. That being said, did you want to address the comments that occurred the other night?
Yeah, sure. So like you said, like I've remained silent for multiple different reasons, trying not to get dragged into too much of the craziness online and stuff. And, you know, because of attorneys, what they've said, we've decided to, you know, let the courts system play out. And, but the other day I decided, I watched those, I listened to those spaces sometimes, and it was just totally spontaneous. It was New Year's Day, and I was listening to one, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to jump on and just thank people for all that they've done for my family, for my extended family, and just more of a thank you to them. And so I clicked request to speak, which I've never done before. I don't even really know how it works. And I got on, and you know, I was just thanking people. And to be quite honest, I didn't even really remember or really pay attention to the comments that were said. I didn't find out until later on what was said. And by no means do I condone, I accept any of that, what was said. I think those comments are vile. I don't think there's any place for that type of rhetoric in speech anywhere. I look back on what's happened to my family, you know, my brother, the McCabe's, Brian Higgins, and I hear these comments all the time that are said to us on a regular basis, and they're vile, they're disgusting. There's no place for that type of speech. So I don't condone those, and actually I think they were terrible, and I don't accept those, and I wish if I realized what was being said at the time, I probably would have jumped off right away.
Right.
I certainly didn't laugh at it. So whoever says or thinks that I did.
No, the person who laughed actually owned it on Twitter, which I thought was great. They did. Yeah.
No, and I listened briefly in the very beginning because some of those spaces can be so long. And I turned it on briefly when you first came on, and I heard you know, showing and sharing your thanks to everyone and how the support has made your family feel. And I remember someone asking you about Colin. How is Colin doing? And I remember you saying, oh, every day is an up and down type thing. You know, some days are good, some days are bad. And, you know, it's a struggle. And, you know, so when I was listening, the conversation and everyone involved, it was a great conversation. Unfortunately, you know, I didn't stay very long, but I heard there was a clip. Was it a clip or 2 clips or something that someone, you know, in the spaces, you know, they started being kind of derogatory, speaking, you know, towards the blogger that has been vile towards many people. But they tried to attach you to that story, you know, of whoever was saying that. So, and it was a family member, right, of the McCabe's. That's why the announcement that Carrie had made for them the other day, just saying like, that's not something we condone, that type of speaking. That's not us. That's a relative, you know, which I thought was showing integrity to stand up and say, we don't condone that type of speech because we understand the harassment. And I know, you feel the same way, Chris, showing how your family and what they've been through and how people should not be treated.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Julie.
Oh, no, it's okay. Go ahead. I was just going to say, can you imagine if the defense would have spoken up and said, these people shouldn't be harassed?
Right.
The way this could have been different, and no one from the defense ever said a word. As a matter of fact, David Yannetti said that Aidan Carney was doing God's work.
Yep.
So, and I thought it was interesting too how it went from yesterday, the post there. First, it was Chris was laughing, and then yesterday there was a long post that they had put in Turtle Boy's OnlyFans group that Chris sat there and smiled, which is interesting to me since it's audio only. So I don't know how anyone would know that Chris was smiling. But, they do this and they repeat lie after lie after lie until it's, people accept it as the truth. And it's very unfair.
Yeah, they just keep giving us examples of how that works. The thing about smiling just cracked me up. I mean, it's part of the course.
Right.
What they do.
Right.
And like Hank said, if you tell a lie enough times, it becomes the truth. So
right. And they fill in the gaps. And it's funny because you fill in the gap here and be like, yeah, he was smiling. And it's like,
How can
it's an audio.
Right.
Like you are filling in the gap, the narrative here, and what you're imagining in your mind.
Right.
Because you have villainized these people so much that you are seeing him smiling on the other end of an audio.
Right.
I mean, it's
right.
And
so
there's
it lives so large in their minds. Yeah.
Right. And for those that don't know what Spaces is, I guess we should mention. So for those that are not on Twitter, it's this new feature. I think TikTok has it. I'm not too familiar with TikTok, but you can basically have a live conversation that's audio and people can join in and the public can hear. You can listen anonymously. You can listen not anonymously. And there's been some great conversations that have come from it and some weird ones I've clicked on and clicked right out of. Like, what am I listening to? But it has been a good way to connect with people that you talk with and tweet on social media and just to hear their voice and to hear them sound like a person behind their profile.
Sort of like a voice channel on Discord. It's very much like that.
Yes, that's right. Discord has it as well.
Yeah.
So I think the main thing to end on that, because I don't want to spend too much time on it, but obviously none of the witnesses, Chris included, I didn't want to speak for Chris the other night because I obviously knew he was coming on and that he could speak for himself. But no one condones that. No one. It was disgusting. And, they can't control, just like the blogger's family probably can't control him, who's wished death upon more people than I can count. I'm sure his family doesn't feel the same way and wish death upon people. They don't feel the same way. And they were extremely appalled by it. And, everyone included. So.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Yeah. Let's move on to some more fun stuff than that.
Yeah.
We spoke about this a little bit, but I really enjoyed it because for me, watching the trial and watching your testimony and the testimony of all the other witnesses, I got the picture that Canton was a really sweet little town. That was the picture that was painted during the trial to me, because I'm not imagining a conspiracy. And it actually reminded me, I grew up in a town of a similar size. And sometimes when people were drawing conclusions throughout the trial, notably the attorneys, that it was just absolutely outrageous that someone would know the firefighter who showed up to their house, or that, those kind of connections would be unusual. And in a town that size, they're not unusual. And when I was growing up there, I thought it was kind of annoying that everybody knew, everybody would tell my mom if I got in trouble because it's a small town, you know each other.
Right.
So I wanted to hear from you what it was like growing up in Canton, what kind of a town Canton was, and what your experience of living there all your life has been like.
Sure. So I think my father moved us out of so I was born in South Boston originally. I'm one of 7 children. My father moved us to Canton when I was about 4 years old. I think it was around 1974. Canton was kind of an up and coming little town. Like I said, I'm one of 7. I went to grammar school. I went to middle school. I didn't go to high school in Canton, but it's kind of a small little community. Everybody knows everybody. People that live in Canton, born in Canton, stay in Canton. People marry their high school sweethearts. People have jobs in Canton that went to Canton High. I mean, it's kind of like a normal occurrence. I mean, small little town of now it's around 24,000, I think. But obviously, when I first got there, it was a lot smaller. But it's just kind of like any other small town in America. I mean, there's people that are teachers at the school whose husbands are firefighters or whose husbands are police officers. It's kind of that small town feeling. I loved growing up in Canton. It's a wonderful place. It still is a wonderful place. It's a great little town. And then, of course, I brought my children up there. I have 3 children. My oldest, Christopher, my son, Colin, who's 21, will be 22. I got to be careful here. And my son, Dylan, who's 18. So, I wanted to stay here. I loved Canton. So I was fortunate enough to buy a home in Canton. All 3 of my children went to Canton Public Schools. And that's kind of where we are now. So Canton's a great little town.
So that always resonates with me, Lydia, because I think I live in the next town from Chris, which I think is probably the same size, Chris. Maybe, I don't know.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can say now, and I mean, I grew up here too, but if I got pulled over, for speeding, whatever, any cop that pulled me over, I would know. It's just the way it is. The firefighters I know, I mean, it's just the way small towns are. That's why whenever I would see in the trial or on social media that, oh, this is so crazy, I could never understand what people were talking about. It was crazy to me. And I assume everyone else who lives in a small town has, the same experiences. So that was very strange to me to see that through both trials. I thought it was so odd.
Yeah.
To be honest, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
To be honest with you, I could never think of it as any other way because I'm not from a big city. I mean, we're from small town America. So to me, it's like, well, that's normal. You go to Canton High, you become a police officer, a firefighter, a teacher, you go on to another profession.
Right.
I mean, that's just me growing up in Canton. Mostly all the police officers, even when I grew up, they were majority of them were from Canton. The majority of the firefighters were from Canton. Mm-hmm. Obviously, some are from out of town, but it's just how it is. It's normal. I mean, it's just how it is.
Right.
Yeah, those ordinary things that just got so twisted, and to me were like I had a worse fear of getting a ticket when I was a teenager because the chief of police lived on my street. And so I knew I was going to be in trouble. Like I was over there all the time. So I had to be a very good, responsible driver.
Right.
So I get it. But I just found it upsetting that those ordinary things that you love about living in a small town got turned into, something that was supposedly ominous because it's probably some of the things you love about living there.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just know everybody, and growing up, it's like you couldn't go anywhere without knowing someone. I mean, obviously, as time goes on, towns change, communities change. Canton's a little different. Well, it's actually a lot different now than it was when I grew up. It was more of a blue collar town. Now it's more it's it's pretty expensive to live in Canton. So more younger couples that have bigger jobs, or it's expensive to live in Canton. So you have to have the right job, the right income, but it's just like any other small town in America.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wanted to do one debunking before my next question. Julie, I got to live up to Julie, the queen of debunking on this one. But since you mentioned it, I wanted to bring it up again. The ridiculous comments online and from the attorney about the paint in the garage. And I wanted you to talk about how old that paint is.
So in all honesty, when I saw that, I just thought it was a joke. I'm like, that can't be real. Like, is that really what people online are really thinking? Like that's blood? Like, I mean, clear as day, anybody can tell it's paint. That paint was in there when I was a child. So just put it in perspective. Really? Yeah. That I remember that paint in that garage. So that goes back like 40 plus years. So I mean, it's silly. The whole premise is silly, but that's how the whole case has been. It's smoke and mirrors. It's
it would be the best frame job ever. You leave the blood there, and then you sell the house.
You sell the house, you leave all the blood. You're like, we're out of here.
Yeah.
But now you need a time machine on top of everything else. You got to go back 40 years.
Right.
So if you want to stay on our low budget show that you have a time machine, feel free.
Yeah. I told you guys what I saw today on that one show, that she was saying that they poured the paint over it purposefully to cover the blood.
That's the time machine part. So
oh my God.
You got to jump in your time machine and go back 40 years.
It's really unreal.
Unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
Yeah. It's just.
But what's more amazing is that people actually believe it.
That's
what to me is so mind-boggling, is that like you can see that it's paint. They know that it's paint.
They know it's paint.
Know that it's paint. And they're just trying to make it something that it's not, because
it's all make.
I remember after the first trial, when there was a mistrial, and I remember the blogger Turtle Boy saying at one point, he was like, yeah, the next jury needs to be, I forgot how he worded it, but it was like less intelligent. Do you guys remember this?
Yes.
They need to be a little bit dumber. And I remember I clipped it. I need to find that clip somewhere, because I really do think that the defense was aiming for people who are not deep thinking and analyzing to be buying into this conspiracy, because it's a very logical thing. But if you're seeing someone online showing paint splatter in the garage, and you're buying into this whole conspiracy thing, you will see it the way they want you to see it, instead of how the logic behind it and the absurdity of it. But I remember that, and I remember him saying that, and I always thought, I bet you anything that's kind of the way the defense really considered the people they were talking to.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that
impressionable.
Yeah. And I think that answers our question, when you see an interview with one of the jurors and she says, that she thinks maybe, that John probably did get clipped by the car and he lost his shoe, and then he went inside without his shoe, and then he got beat up. I mean, I think that's your answer, that they probably got the jury they were really looking for.
Right.
Sure.
Well, speaking of your community, let's talk about the select board. So have you always been interested in community service or politics?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely a political junkie. I've always been enamored with politics. I never really thought I would run for an office, to be honest with you. It kind of just came up. It was just not really planned there was an opening, there was a couple openings, and I just decided, geez, you know, I've done everything else in Canton. I've owned a business for a long time. I've coached sports. I've been involved in my community. And I said, gee, you know what? Maybe I'll give this a try. And I ran for select board, and I actually, you know, I won. I topped the ticket. I came in, you know, top overall. I unseated an incumbent, which isn't easy to do. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't something that I aspired to do, but it was something kind of like, I do like politics. I follow politics pretty closely.
Well, especially being so familiar with the community and stuff, I think that's almost a natural kind of step to take if you have any interest in politics.
And owning a business, I would imagine you'd have an interest in what the city was doing.
Right.
So can I ask a terminology question as a foreigner to Massachusetts? Is select board what some cities call city council? Is that the same thing?
Yeah. So what it is, you know, if you're a city, you can have a mayor. Even small towns can have mayors. They would just vote at town meeting. So a select board's like city council.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Just translating for my people. So on that note, because our city council meetings are insane, the crazy stuff that happens at our meetings. So this situation aside, are the meetings crazy? And if so, how do you like keep a straight face and endure the craziness of a select board meeting?
So yeah, I mean, some of them have gotten, you know, a little bit out of control. You know, I'm a First Amendment guy, so I totally agree with the First Amendment. I think free speech is one of the cornerstones of our society. Some of them have gotten a little bit, you know, over the top. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but some of them definitely have gotten a little out of control.
Aggressive.
Yeah, and some of the things that have been said, you know, you wouldn't think that's commonplace in a you know, a normal society to say some of the things that have been said. You know, it's one thing to attack, you know, an elected official or to say things about an elected official, but the fact that some of these people that come to speak at the town meetings, they don't live in the town, they have no real ties to the town, and to attack, you know, someone's actual family members and relatives is to me, it's over the top. You know what though? I try to just keep a level mind, and I try to let it not get to me. Because at the end of the day, I know who I am. I know who my family is, and so I try not to let it get to me. It definitely affects me. I'm not gonna say it doesn't, but you just try to go in a space where you kind of just like drum out the noise and just kind of you know, just zone out and let them say what they're gonna say, and then we just, you know, we go on to the regular night's business, and you know, we just try to. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, but you know, when you start attacking people, especially people's families, I think that crosses the line. So
yeah.
And you weren't on the select board when John died, correct? You were elected after John had passed away.
Yes.
So
2023 of April. It's a 3-year term, so it'll be up this April, 2026.
You gonna run again?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, you know, it wasn't what I envisioned.
I'm sure.
It was going to be like in different times, in different place. You know, it's unfortunate.
It really is. It's sad.
I'm really looking forward to it, and you know, it didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. It's unfortunate.
It is.
Yeah, that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you do a great job at the meetings, Chris. I don't know how you do it. Truly, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I just try to just keep my cool, keep my composure, and not, you know, it's difficult. You know, like I said before, it's difficult when someone says something. You know, they might not directly call out a family member, but you know, they actually have called out my family members. I don't know what I'm talking about, but
Right.
you know, my direct family members. But you
I
know,
do have some clips. Did we want to play them at all?
Sure.
Or no? Let me see. You guys can keep talking. Let me find them real quickly.
Okay, well, I have a very controversial question to ask while she finds the clip. Because this has been raging, this controversy. And that is even amongst this group, I think. And that is, does pineapple go on pizza?
What is it?
Oh.
Does pineapple go on pizza?
So I personally would never eat pineapple on a pizza. I mean,
Hey, it's not.
Oh,
It's pretty
yeah.
good. It is pretty good. I was in the same camp, but I tried it. It's pretty good.
but I have really close friends that like pineapple. On
I
their
have
pizza,
friends
so
who
I don't
like
wanna-
pineapple on pizza.
My son loves it. He loves it.
It is. I
Oh,
did not want
wow.
to try it, and I got it on accident, and I was like, "This is delicious." It was really good.
See, that's proof of what a good person you are, Chris, is that you have maintained the relationships with the people who put fruit on their pizza. I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my one of my biggest supporters is truly great guy. He gets pineapple on his pizza all the time, so I'm not gonna. I just personally don't. Then again, I don't think I've ever tried pineapple on a pizza. So I love cold pineapple. I think pineapple's a great fruit.
It's good.
See?
It's good.
Ever the diplomat.
That was very diplomatic.
Yeah.
I have a few lawyers who I'm friendly with, and I've talked to even more that I've just met through this case and whatnot. But I mean, they would tell me stories of, you know, a case they had with, you know, a drug dealer, and one of the, you know, defendants would walk by and simply wink at one of the witnesses, and they would be thrown in jail. They would be thrown in jail. I mean, it is something, especially in Massachusetts, that is taken so seriously, or was, and that they have been allowed to do this. I mean, I know that he, you know, has felony charges. I understand that, but I'm talking about everyone else who has done this. It's truly unbelievable what people have been allowed to do to you guys.
And the irony of Alan Jackson filming a campaign commercial in which he talks about some of his witnesses in some of his cases enduring horrific intimidation.
Yes.
It's just appalling to me.
It is. It really is.
You know, I don't know if you caught his recent, I don't know, media thing that he's done, Alan Jackson, but he basically told the public, because he has taken Nick Reiner's case, and he made a comment saying, like, basically, hey, public, no rush to judgment, no speculations type announcement. You know, this is, let's let the legal system do what they want. And it's like, hold on, buddy. You know, you ran to every magazine, every possible PR outlet you could possibly do. You had called phone calls with the blogger. I mean, over a dozen, like 30 times, I think was in the document that I read, but just at that point when that was filed. And he was whining and dining apparently with journalists. We had Matt Gutman 2020, according to Aiden. They all went to dinner together. And, you know, again, not to go into Vanity Fair, but we know that whole mess was a PR puff piece type situation. So it's really hard to take Alan Jackson seriously when he changes his tune with every case in the public, but he uses the public constantly as he cares more about painting the picture to people and how they should respond and how they should see things than he seems to really care about in the courtroom.
Well, and he's on his own license at home, so I'm sure that's a little different for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that outside of Massachusetts, other courts have taken notice and put some things in place. There are several trials that I was thinking I was going to get to watch that are coming up, where the judges have said people broke the streaming rules, and so the entire trial is not going to be televised or streamed. And in Indiana, I think there was an effect from this trial, and so it does have an effect. It just needs to have an effect in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So, well,
I definitely think this will go into some kind of legal history books, because there's a lot of things about
Not
this
in a good way.
case and how, yeah.
All right. Well, I will turn it over to you, Tuesday.
Oh, I have to look at my question that I have here that I do not have ready. Is anyone else prepared?
Yeah, we can skip to Julie if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, reset.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about how Colin is doing? I have 3 sons, very similar to your sons, very similar ages. And it's really upsetting to think about what has been taken from Colin, how much stress it must be for you and Julie and his brothers to watch this happen. So do you want to talk a little bit about how Colin's doing now?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put it into words for everyone to understand, but I would implore people to just think about the fact that my son was 17 years old when this happened. He was a senior in high school, getting ready to go to become a freshman in college, to go play on a football team, something that he strived for, that he loved, to play with his cousin. And he was able to do that at first, for his freshman year. And we had no idea what was coming. But it's difficult what he's gone through and what he's been called, and his whole entire life has been turned upside down. It's been ruined in some ways. It's I don't know how to put this into exact words. Each day is a struggle for him, to get out of bed. Some days are better than others. And it's disgusting what people have done to him and what they've said about him. And it's truly, I can't even, it gets me so upset. But he's, he just tries to get through each day at a time, one day at a time. It's just imagine, someone calling your son a murderer for no reason whatsoever.
I couldn't, and I say it all the time, people laugh at me, but he truly is a kid. If you're going to go after adults, you're going to go after somebody our age. We have life experience and we can put things into perspective. When you're talking about a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid, they don't have that. And they're just trying to figure out who they are. And now imagine people have, basically they've made you a leper. They've made you a social pariah. They have said horrible things. And the worst part of this is it's adults doing this. It is people in their 40s and 50s and 60s who are doing this, who should know better, who should know that you cannot do that to a person that age. He hasn't done anything wrong. And I can't, my mom used to say, when you have kids, your heart lives on the outside of your body. And it's so true. So it would be one thing if it was happening to me, but to have to watch my child go through that would be just, I don't know how you and Julie do it, because I probably would have lost my mind by this point. And the one thing that I've noticed, and it happened to me this weekend on Twitter, someone was, laughing and making light of the situation with Richard Schiffer, which I didn't find that funny at all. And I had made the comment, well, maybe you could just tell me who your child is, and we could do that. We could, get little things and throw them all around town and accuse your child of heinous things. And the person got very, very upset. And the point of that is, if the thought of it happening to your child upsets you,
right,
then why are you not taking a step back and thinking about what you're doing to this kid? It blows my mind that people can't understand that. And like I said, it is all adults. It is a bunch of adult bullies. And it used to be, the kids that we raised are the first generation that kind of had, Twitter and YouTube, and you could go on there and find things. And I would tell them all the time, you don't know if that's true. It might just be whatever. But they also had the social media. Whereas, for us, if you were being bullied or something was happening, you could go home and it was your sanctuary. And it's not like that anymore. People can get to you wherever you are, and to be completely shut out, to completely shut everything off at that age. I can't even imagine what that poor kid has gone through. And I am so sorry that you guys have had to go through that.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, it's it's mind-boggling that, like you said, there's adults that are doing this to a kid, like for no fault of his own. And it's just, I can't even put it into, I'm at a loss for words. It's disgusting and it's despicable. And if this happened to someone else's child, they would be outraged. And to see adults acting the way they act is just, there's no place for a civilized society for this crap. It's just, honest to God. It's just.
I think Chris, Joe Krowski said it best once on Court TV, which I always think about. The clip gets played a lot. How, I mean, it's been proven over and over Colin wasn't there. We all know the feds have their information. They know Colin was home, but he literally went to bed one night and woke up the next day being called a murderer. And that always hit me when Krowski said that on Court TV once, because it was so true, right? Like, it just went to bed, and one night, one morning woke up and all of a sudden he was a murderer.
Crazy. Yeah, it was just like, everything was going around, everything was going fine. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get this word about some blogger and some article. And then boom, it's like, what? Like my son Colin? What are you?
Right. Yeah. I can't even imagine.
What's really maddening is the photo of his knuckles. And there was one photo of his knuckles, and he had, scrapes on his knuckles. And that was proven that there's a photo that was like a month after John had passed away, that photo. And there was another photo that was like way closer to the time that John had died. And it's showing his knuckles. He was at, I think it was like someone was in the military and came back. There was some kind of party.
Yeah, it was
Yep. And he, and they're posing for photos, and, people are looking in at his knuckles, and there's nothing there. And so we know logically, reduction here is that when he had scraped his knuckles, it was not at the time anywhere near this time when John had died. But even the Boston Herald would post this photo as if that is the photo that it's scary what the media can do, and how careless they are in order to sensationalize a story, and how this impacts families, let alone a young adult male who, is just entering into adulthood, and they just don't care.
No, it's all about the media is they hold a big responsibility in this. They they hold a lot of blame, and they just went with clicks and likes to sell a story. And what they've done in their, oh God, it's just the fact that they have sensationalized this and just is just terrible. Absolutely.
Well, then
Yeah.
in trial too, you know, Judge Cannone ruled that there wasn't enough to even name Colin as a third party culprit. And so you would think that that would cause people to think, the public to think, that would cause the media to write articles, and that is not at all what happened.
Right.
Yeah, where's all the articles from the media saying, oh, well, Judge Cannone said they didn't want to hear it. They just didn't let it, you know? It didn't
Well,
sell
even,
their
I mean, her latest filing doesn't have Colin in it. Not even mentioned.
Right.
No one's
But
mentioned
I
that.
mean, that's the damage those things do. Once you do that, there's no putting that back. There's no stopping that. And there will always be people that believe that. And I think some of this alternative media, these YouTubers as well, they would have people on, you know, that lived in Canton. They're not doing any fact checking. They're allowing these people to just spew these crazy rumors. I mean, do you remember that one, Carrie, that one show? It was someone from Canton who's been very vocal and then just dropped out. And she was making comments about Colin. And they were it was just all gossip and blanket statements.
Gossip and rumors and
no examples, nothing.
Yes.
And they just, the host just allowed her to spew all of this stuff.
And it was just nonsense.
I'm thankful I didn't hear it. So
yeah. Well,
no kidding. Don't look for it.
It still makes me angry.
Yeah.
But Chris, it's like you said, like there's something missing from our society. Because I guess in my head, I still think of a culture where adult women with children would circle around a child that was being attacked, no matter who that child was. And the idea that this is largely a group of women who either have children or are of the age where they could have children, promoting this and keeping it alive for years and years and years is just deeply disturbing to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even like the psychology behind it. It's just like mind-boggling. I can't understand why they act the way they act. It just makes no sense. If this was their child or their grandchild, grandkid, how would they feel? Like it's just crazy that things that.
Well, a lot of them on Twitter, I like every time I get, you know, one of those comments from, you know, these free Karen Reed people who are quite aggressive in the way they tweet. You know, it's either a sock account. A lot of times, you know, they're brand new. It's people just making new accounts, but people whose profile it is their real profile. I have come across so many where I automatically go and in their profile bio, it says things about being kind. You know, there's a biblical quote.
Right.
There's whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like these people who, and I consider myself a Christian. So I'll say this makes me frustrated because it's like, if you have to tell someone how kind you are in your bio, then you're probably not being that kind online. Right? Yeah. Because it's almost the irony behind it. It's almost like they tell themselves, this is how kind and amazing I am. And it's there and it's written, you know, but they don't self-reflect. Yeah, it's maddening. And it's, you know, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, with us in this case, this is kind of, I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. They dehumanized us to a point where we're just, you know, we're not like real people. Yeah. We're
McAlberts, right? This term.
What is a McAlbert? There's no such thing as
knows. Yeah.
There's the McCabe's and there's the Alberts. Mm-hmm. Like for people to saying it over and over again, it just shows you more what type of people they are than what we are, how shallow they are, and how just, oh God, it's disgusting.
Right.
But it's
and it's
literally
meant to, oh, sorry. I was gonna say it's meant to have you as one entity, right? To make you sound more of like your own mob. You know, you are the McAlberts, you are this thing, and it's a lie. It's a lie that they're painting you in.
It's literally ripped from the propaganda, Soviet propaganda. It's exactly following those same
1,000%.
rules, because you're othering people, right? By dehumanizing them and putting them into a big group that everybody can be mad at. And then you're controlling the language, which is essential to good propaganda. You change the meaning of certain words.
Yeah.
And so they, you know, people lose their focus on the truth. That way it's completely propaganda in every single way. And I will believe that is why Hank used that quote in court about, you know, repeating a line, it becomes a truth, because that's what that quote is about. It's about propaganda, and it's effective, unfortunately.
Oh, I mean, think about it. They, you know, they all say the McAlberts. We don't just mean people on Twitter. The lawyers on Twitter use McAlberts. The law tubers use McAlberts. I mean, it's gross. It's really disgusting.
It's become it's become a derogatory word. That's what it's meant to be.
That's the point.
Every time you hear that word, just like when it's, you know, Jen is just a regular mom or whatever that statement was, you know, they use this over and over and over to degrade people.
Yeah.
And the truth doesn't need that. The truth doesn't need you to create a image to persuade people a certain way. The truth is the truth. You know, there is no need for this type of messaging. And, you know, it's wild.
Well,
so Chris, sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
So I went over some of your testimony yesterday, and I got to the part about John coming in to D&E that day, and you guys had made plans to possibly meet up, and you had got to the waterfall and you texted him, and you were teasing him about his lawn and that he should get over there. And, you know, listening to David Yannetti try to turn this into some kind of threat, right? I mean, what was going through your head when he was like trying to make it seem like you were like threatening him that you were going to like tear up his front lawn? I mean, come on.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, but it was then again, it was all a performance. It was like theater for him. But to me, it was upsetting because John was my friend, you know what I mean? And that joke about the lawn was like, it was genuine. And like, it wasn't like, it's crazy to me. It's mind-boggling that they tried to spin that and make that like we had something. Why did John come in my shop that day?
Well, I was just going to say those are the things they want to make people forget, right? They don't want people to remember that John and his son, or Patrick, his nephew, came into Chris's shop that day. That's where he spent his last day having lunch, was with his friend Chris. They don't want everybody to remember that. And I think he invited himself out with you guys, right? Chris asked what you guys were doing.
We talked, he said, he said, what are you doing tonight? And I said, actually, it's my nephew's birthday party.
I mean, they don't want people to remember that.
Well, I thought it was just, I thought it was so cute because my dad was like that with his lawn too. And when we would tease him, we'd be like, yeah, we're going to step on the lawn. You know, my girlfriend and I used to tease him all the time. So I thought it was super cute. So, you know, I remember when it was happening, you know, live during the trial, and I was like, what is he doing? Like, people aren't going to really think that this was an actual threat, right? And so these people are like this big powerful mob, and what he's going to threaten him with is, I'm going to like tear up your front lawn. Like, are you serious right now, Mr. Yannetti?
It was so bizarre.
Yeah, it was.
But it's crazy because like the internet and these people, these low IQ people, believe that. They think that like that photo. If you remember that photo that they posted,
it was super cute. I thought that was cute too.
Yeah.
I mean, John asked us to just keep a lookout on his yard. So me and Julie went to dinner. John and Karen, I think we're in Florida or something. So as a joke on the way home, Julie's like, "Hey, pull over. We're gonna pull over. We're gonna send John a picture." So we straddle the fence, and they're like, "Oh, look at them harassing him." And what are you talking about?
That was so weird.
And Karen obviously knew that. And Karen knew that
she
narrative,
did.
right?
She saw the photo when it was sent over to him.
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
still.
it's such a melodramatic and hysterical way to interpret a little joke like that. And then the other thing that he did that's top of mind right now is the incident with Dylan. And where he kept trying to make it Colin, and he kept trying to say, Colin just walked through his yard and flip him off. And you're like, no, that was Dylan. And I thought it was really sweet too. The end of that story that John didn't even realize that he had upset Dylan, and then he comes over with candy, and that tells you what their relationship was like.
Yeah, that's how we actually became friends with John, was because that's what Dylan did. He was in middle school. He runs across John's yard. John just was being John. It was like, "Hey, get off my lawn, kid." It was not a big deal. But Dylan, being in 6th grade, was a little bit startled. So he ran home. He's like, "What are you doing? The guy at the street just yelled at me." And so Julie called Jen and said something to Jen about it. And Jen reached out to John, and within 2 hours, Dylan's favorite candy was on our front yard. On our front door. And then we became friends with him, and that's kind of how we connected. It's just silly that
great
people, they buy into these crazy stories like they're true, and they don't know anything about the truth.
Yep.
And when they get told, because those go around like rumors, and then it's when it gets corrected, they just either keep saying it or they drop it and move on to the next speculation.
Yep.
And part of that, I wondered at the time, because I thought those were really sweet stories. I thought the donuts in the car was really sweet. They just seem like warm relationships. And sometimes I wonder, is it just that these people don't have the healthy relationships in their lives? Like their lives are so messed up that they do think it's impossible for somebody to do something really sweet for you on your birthday.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So for the record, Ian, that Dunkin' Donuts are always open during blizzards. Why does everyone think that's such a weird thing? Especially if you live in New England, you know what I mean? So that was something that my wife did all the time. Brought him donuts on his birthday all the time.
Yeah.
That's just
so sweet.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is jealousy. You have this tight-knit family. And I think that some people are very jealous of that. If you don't have, good relationships in your life and you see somebody that has that, you're going to be jealous. Then the other thing was the beer can thing, where Karen tried to make it seem like it was Colin. It was not Colin. But again, another just very melodramatic, hysterical way to interpret it and just make Colin into this villain, this person that he's not. And I can't imagine. You were probably my head would have been spinning on the stand. What are you talking about?
it's great. Imagine you blaming that on a 17-year-old kid at the time. Yeah. Can you even imagine what goes through a person's mind to do that and to blame others? That you had to make Colin into some sort of villain, which just wasn't true. So let's just say that he did this and threw beer cans on John's lawn.
Right.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Insane. Drive by and give one finger. What? That never ever happened.
And she knew that. That's the saddest part. She knew.
And these attorneys, after the acquittal, walk around like heroes, and it's you just left this master aftermath storm on these families in order to win a case. Do you not morally see a problem with this. I mean, it's crazy. I wanted to ask you a quick question about the house being sold. This is another one of those kind of conspiracy things that have just gone wild online.
Brian's house, do you mean?
Oh yes, sorry, Brian's house. Can you talk about, do we know, because I heard, so the house had originally gone on the market.
Yeah, so I sold my house and the first week in January of 2022. The first week. It was probably like 3 weeks before John died. I sold my house. My house had been on the market for a little bit. And when I had my house on the market, I actually had the house on the market for a couple of months, for 2-3 months. And Brian knew about it. So Brian's like, geez, I think I'm going to put my house on the market. I said, well, hey, here's my realtor. Why don't you give him a call or, reach out to him? So my brother was in contact with him the same November of 2021. So, I mean, it's just, it's silly because he was looking into selling his house before John died, before I sold my house.
And that was a market, like a seller's market, no pandemic right there. I mean, it was a good time to sell.
And I mean, they have emails to the realtor, like the defense knows this, again, the feds know this.
Yeah.
Like, it's just another one of those things. And then what? I mean, they sold their house like a year later, right, Chris?
Yeah, I think it was about a year later.
Yeah.
So they hold on to it for a year, but then sell it. Like, come on, silly.
And I really don't like it when people lie to me. This is something that's kind of a mystery to me about all this is what you just said, Carrie. They know, the attorneys know about that email. They know the timeline. If I, as a conspiracy pusher, found out that someone had lied to me and that I like took that in and told other people that, I would be furious.
Just like right. Like you say that, I thought they would feel that same way when they found out that the defense knew about Chloe. I figured, they're gonna finally realize, and they just don't care.
They don't
I just saw something saying Chloe was executed, and I'm like, the defense loved that rumor. They loved it.
Did. Yeah.
They knew exactly where Chloe was from day one. They knew exactly where Chloe was.
And why was Chloe executed? Because she was going to start speaking English?
Yes. And driving cars.
I never figure that out, why they had to execute Chloe. I was like, why do they have to do that?
What is going on?
Because of his dental records. But now that we have the dental records, they don't matter, right?
No,
I could never figure out why Chloe had to, in their minds, that I just couldn't figure that out.
Just selling another story. Just keep on telling a false narrative and just say it over and over and over again. Where's Chloe? Where's Chloe? Well, you know it. Exactly.
It sounds
why Chloe was rehomed.
And that's why they thought that coming into the second trial. They didn't want that information to come into the second trial, and they fought hard because it proved that everything they said was false about her.
Right.
Why does it matter what Colin's football number is?
Right.
Oh, goodness.
I don't think even Yannetti knows where he's going sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's just like a look over here, look over there.
Yes.
Just don't look at there and don't look at anybody else. Look over there.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you I didn't know if you were frozen. Oh my God.
No, it's just me and Carrie trying not to fidget.
Do you want to go to yours, Tuesday?
Oh, that you had mentioned, Julie, you already talked about it. Patrick going into D&E.
Yeah,
and then the house on the market. Those were mine.
Okay. You got to do Nevercracker though. Yeah. You got to do it. It was the best part of the trial.
You me saying it?
No,
just the look on your face, like.
Oh my God, Nevercracker, like the cartoon character.
It's still
it was
here.
so surreal. It was like, huh? What did you just? I looked over at the judge. I remember I looked over at the judge like,
You did.
You did look at the judge. That was hilarious.
You're like,
give this any credence? Am I like really like?
Are you gonna step in here with this nonsense?
High-priced lawyer like just really say to me, well, the cop too, Nevercracker wouldn't have liked that, would he now?
What would Nevercracker do in this situation?
Right. And can you
Amazing.
please interpret Nevercracker's, the cartoon character's feelings for us, Mr. Albert? Thank you.
Okay, so Chris, let's just, what was your relationship with Michael Proctor?
So I knew Mike a little bit. The reason I knew Mike was through my sister-in-law, Jillian, who was good friends with his sister, Courtney. As far as a relationship with Mike, I didn't have one. Didn't even know him. I mean, he was so much younger than me that I probably hung out with him maybe like 5 times, and those 5 times were at his mother's pool party. Yes. I don't think that anyone in the house even knew who Mike Proctor was. Actually, not do I think. Nobody knew who he was.
Yeah,
no one met him.
Yes.
Like my brother Brian never met Michael Proctor in his
Never.
entire life.
Right.
And it's just crazy that they try to form this relationship that we had. If we were so close to Michael Proctor, why wasn't I invited to his wedding? Why wasn't my son invited to his wedding?
Right.
I mean, it's silly. Colin got invited to his sister's wedding as a ring bearer because, we were close with his sister.
Right.
I mean, it's just the whole thing is just mind-boggling. Right. But once again, they tried to sell this narrative like it was something sinister that I was friends with his sister, so I must be best friends with him or silly.
I think that's the part that always blows me away is the only person that can even be connected to him, and it's through someone else, is you. You weren't even at the house that night. You went home. And then there's Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Brian Higgins, Sarah Levinson, Julie Nagel, Brian Albert Jr., Caitlin Albert. None of them ever met him before.
Never.
And that just always blew my mind that all of these people believed that this guy would risk his entire career in life for 9 people he literally never met. And he barely knew you.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just, it's mind-boggling to me.
I've never hung out with Mike by myself. I've never been anywhere with him alone. The only time I've ever been out with him is when I went to his mother's pool.
Right, and he was
maybe
there. Right.
4 or 5 times. Yeah.
Right.
There's something to be said about sibling when you're older as an adult and you have siblings. Those siblings have relationships. And you're not always involved in who your siblings are friends with, or, they have their own lives.
Right.
I have, I have a handful of brothers, and my mom is really close to my youngest brother, and because he was the last in the house. So she's pretty familiar with a lot of close with some of his friends' families. I have never even met them.
Yep.
So that was one thing that really stuck out to me, that they were trying to act like everybody in the family has the same relationship, with whoever's friends with who and whatever. And that's just not how life really works.
It isn't.
Well, and he asked you, my favorite question that he asked you was if you hung out with your siblings growing up.
You imagine that? No.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. That was one of the best ones.
In your face, you were like, yeah, we were
My siblings?
family,
Yeah.
so
Oh my
God.
God.
A little bit.
I had so many arguments online about Colin standing up in Courtney's wedding and, having 3 boys. If there's somebody around you, as a family, and someone's getting married and they need a flower girl or they need a ring bearer, you can go to a wedding and your kid can stand up in that wedding and not know really anybody. I mean, we've had it happen.
Just a
my
little
son
kid.
stood up in a wedding. I couldn't tell you who those people were in the picture. I have no idea. If they walked past me today, I would not know that those were the people in the wedding party. But I had argument after argument with people about that. Like, the kid just has to be the right age. That's pretty right.
Be a little kid.
So,
and I think too, most of the people that I run into anyway online with that, they always try to make it like it was Proctor's wedding. That's yes. Most
remember
of the
the Barstool guy? He put in the article that it was Michael Proctor's wedding.
Did?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, completely. And and that does change it a little bit, right? That would change it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that would be the connection they would love, right?
Right. Yeah, he wrote that in that article.
Yeah, Julie and I wrote him, and he never corrected it.
He never corrected it.
No,
I mean, this case alone just shows what's wrong with media.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that lawyer, that guy lawyer, didn't he just say the other day that there was a text message that said, "Let's pin it on the girl"?
Yes, he did.
He said that, even though the only person that said that, I believe, was Alan Jackson.
It was Alan Jackson. Yep.
Yeah.
I thought it was Yannetti, but it was one of the lawyers, and he actually said on Megyn Kelly that text was a real text.
Yep. Yes.
Journalism is dead. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think too is in our new culture of I didn't say new culture, but the new forms of media. YouTube, a lot of these YouTubers, I don't even know if they realize the responsibility of what they say.
Right.
I mean,
they don't
you're
care.
talking.
I think Chris got it right. They don't care. They just want views. They'll say anything.
They don't care.
Yep. And it's really important to be the first person to say the really stupid thing too. That's the thing about YouTube and social media is you got to be the first person to say the dumb thing. The first person to say Chloe was executed. The first person to say there was a text, because then all the people, they just follow behind.
Yeah.
You get credit for it on Reddit or whatever. It's ridiculous. It's just.
Yeah,
hey, Chris,
TikTok's like an echo.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
Speaking of just how we just got on to Michael Proctor's sister Courtney, and you had mentioned Jillian, your sister-in-law. I wanted to bring her up just for a quick second because I always feel like she gets a lot of abuse and attack online and whatnot. And just wanted to give you a second to just talk about her, because what I see with her is just someone fiercely protecting her family and her family's extended family, and especially her nephews. And I always just feel so much for her, just because I have a nephew. I can't even imagine watching him go through what she's watched Colin go through.
Yeah.
I mean, she's real protective of her family. I mean, she loves her family. She loves, my children or her three nephews. And she's seen what has been done to Colin, and it pains her every day. And she's just fiercely defensive. And she just, she's got a lot of guts. And
she really does.
She takes all the slings, and she just doesn't care. I mean, if you're going to go after her family, she's going to defend. And
yeah,
so a lot of it's needless, like, you know what I mean, and it's just, it's silly, but yeah, she's been very supportive, and
she's another one who's been just villainized for just supporting you guys and being there for her family. It's just crazy what these people have done to anyone that stands by.
Oh yeah,
family.
Anyone that that is willing to like put their neck out on the line, they are viciously attacked. It's just, I mean, look at you guys. You guys are just trying to speak the truth, and like the truth is the truth. And look what's going on, and I have to take my hat off to you guys, because I gotta admit, early on, it's like, people weren't going out of their way to defend us, and I understood it. It was upsetting to me, but I had said, like, I don't want to see this happen to you. What's happened to us.
Right.
So I understood it, because, you just putting yourself out there. And initially it was like, when this was first going on, it was like, well, no one said a word because they know they were going to get an article written about them or they were going to be attacked. So they were, they were very cautious, you know, little by little as it's gone on, you know, more people are willing to stand up, but you're still going to take the slings. You guys have been, you know, you've been attacked on a daily basis, you know. Thank God that you guys have thick skin, but geez, I mean, it's bad.
It is. It's crazy.
It is. I explained it to my husband because there are moments where I'm like, I don't know if I can emotionally handle this. You know, it's been a couple years now where we've been like trying to just, you know, write about and research the facts and try and share information and correct all the misinformation and disinformation that just consistently perpetuates online. And it feels like we're yelling into the wind a lot of times. But, you know, there are a lot of times when I get lashed back, personally, speaking for myself personally, you know, where we can kind of laugh at it. You know, there's been some such absurd statements, but then there are things that are really heavy, and we have our own lives outside of this. And so I've had quite a few moments where I'm like, I don't know emotionally if I can handle this. But the one thing that keeps bringing me back is I am seeing your children as if they're in a fire right now. And I would walk into a fire and pull children out of it, you know, and that is exactly how I see your families. You guys are being burned at the stake, and, you know, you can only say so much being the victim of this, of the harassment and intimidation. And you need people to help walk you out of the fire. So, you know, as much as we can help do that, and sometimes I'm not even sure how much help we're doing, you know, but that's what I keep telling myself is, you know, I would want that from other people if my children were being harassed and abused like that.
Well, I can't thank you enough for that statement, all of you ladies. But that statement is just, it's impactful. And I wish more people, you know, had the, you know, the outlook that you do and put it in perspective like that. It's truly, that's an amazing statement. And thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and I do have to say, just because I've seen it myself, there are a lot of people who privately, you know, speak to us and support you and support the other witnesses who are scared to death to say anything. So, I mean, for every one of us that, you know, does respond, there are hundreds and hundreds of people behind all of us that won't speak out, but they do talk to us, and, you know, they message us, or maybe their accounts are protected or whatever, which I completely understand. But it's not just us.
And I think we've seen that with, you know, the Testify page and the donation page and the support. I mean, I don't think we could have ever imagined all the support that you guys received. I don't think Chris could ever have imagined that when that.
No, I can't. You know, when we first started thinking about doing it, we were just, you know, we had multiple meetings and stuff, and it's kind of a scary thing because we're thinking, well, geez, you know, who's going to really be able to support? I mean, obviously people are supporting us, but like Lydia said, like a lot of it's behind the scenes, and people don't want to stick their neck out there because, let's be honest, it's very popular to bash people. I mean, that's fun. Everyone loves,
especially
on the kick the crap
especially
out of
locals.
Yeah.
Like I would think it would be harder for people who are more local to you to be outspoken, or anyone who has some type of career where, you know, they can go in and really try and ruin your career, because that's what they do. They try and, you know, I mean,
But it's
even
interesting now,
Carrie's endured that.
it's interesting now because some of those same people that will love to dox people, to to call their employers or do this or do that. Now a few of them are turning on one another. Now it's happening to them, and they're like, I can't believe they did that to me. Can you believe?
I know.
Right.
They've literally
Right.
done this to every one of the witnesses, every one of the witnesses,
Every single one.
the firefighters, the police, everything. And they had no problem doing that. It gets done to them, just a small little smidgen. And it's like, oh my God, can you believe that they're doing this? Give me a break.
I've seen people say it. I mean, the girls know. I mean, they did it to me with my job. And I've seen people who I know doxed me or whatever. And I see them just appalled at someone else doing it from their side, of course, not over here. Yeah. And it's mind-boggling to me. It is. But they think anyone over here deserves it. That's the sick part.
Yeah, because we're not like, once again, we go back, we're not like real people.
Right.
We're just like
right.
Characters.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do think, I mean, the support we've seen has just been, I don't think any of us, all five of us here, I don't think we expected what we've seen, which is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think it gives the people who do quietly support you a lot of hope that the truth does matter, and that there is a powerful force of, people who care about the truth and care about the truth being told.
Well, I think it's like Tuesday I was talking about, the spaces, which, like she was saying, there are some really good conversations on some of them. And two of the women who, they do it a lot, and I know one of them is Earl. The other account, I can't think of the account name. I think it might be maybe something to do with Defend the Truth. Her and Earl do them together a lot. And I mean, those two girls, they do a really good job, and they're really trying to get the truth out. And my hat always goes off to them because they really care about, the witnesses and getting the truth out. And so it's real. I mean, we didn't have this a year ago.
No, God, we didn't. I could have never envisioned what we have now, what we had even a year ago, 6 months ago. I mean, forget about 3 years ago. We were on an island. It was just besides our immediate family, there was like nobody. Now it's like there is like, so many people out there
Yes,
which is special.
We get a lot, I wouldn't say a lot, but I've gotten a handful of people reaching out who are attorneys and are former law enforcement somewhere in the country, talking, they reach out about this, about how crazy this conspiracy has gotten out of control and how everyone's been treated. I mean, there are professionals out there that, and some have even, I know one or two of them for sure has actually known David Yannetti, has had some kind of legal interaction with them because they're also an attorney, and they're just sickened by the way he has engaged in this trial by media type behavior. And, there are professionals that are seeing this and not necessarily speaking up publicly because, again, they have families and careers, but it's not going unseen by a lot of these people.
Yeah, and you look at just the intellect of somebody like Anonymous Lawyer.
Yes.
And he feels the need to be private, which I completely understand because he's an actual working lawyer, not one who plays one on YouTube. And and he is such a powerful voice and really such a reasonable person. So it's not going unnoticed.
He's really good.
And that other, is it Maeve or Maeve?
Such a great writer.
Great writer, Substack. I mean, they've been putting out like bombshells every day with those articles. Amazing.
Yeah. Did we freeze?
So, nope. I don't think so. All right. Do you have anything you wanted to touch on, Chris, while we're all here?
I have one more thing. I have one more question I didn't ask. So Chris, could you explain Julie's thought process behind the gift for Michael Proctor? I look at it like, I'll put myself in that same group. We're suburban moms, and it's what we do. We give teachers gifts, at Christmas time. We're not trying to bribe them for a grade. But when you're in a community, a small community, and someone does something kind,
bribe them for a grade.
you give them a gift of appreciation. They tried to make it seem like she was, the mob wife, and she was going to arrange to buy Michael Proctor a boat. Like,
he solved the crime.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I
He
mean,
solved the crime.
It's another crazy false narrative out there that was somehow some sinister act, because somebody was charged for John's death, and the fact that my wife was thankful that someone was charged and said, I'm going to have a gift for you. It's like, what is that even like? Yeah, she was happy. I mean, it's just a gift for a teacher or for anything. Right.
And it's traumatic what the families have gone through. Traumatic. So it's like a gift of like, you worked, I assume, right? I mean, thank you.
Right.
Thank you, peacekeeper officer, for helping to.
I mean, it was their friend. John was their friend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he was their friend.
And a lot of people don't know that you can't give gifts to public servants. You know what I mean? Like you just don't know that. It's just something that you would you just do that. Like,
I didn't know. Yeah.
I don't understand how people thought that was something nefarious. It was just a mom being a mom, and doing the things that moms do. And it was kind of ridiculous. And I don't think she was going to buy him a boat. I don't think that.
Right. And I mean, if you think about it, like Julie said earlier, or whoever said it, and I know Julie, she's an extremely kind and thoughtful person. She's the kind of a mother who does go over to her nephew's house in the middle of a blizzard with the donuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she is the kind of person who, when, in their minds, I mean, he solved the crime. It was their friend had died. So I mean, she is, that is something that she would do, and there was nothing nefarious about it or sinister. And that was just how they tried to make everything into, like Julie said, something out of everything. It was so sad what they did to everyone.
And even the response that he gave was so typical of a first responder. No, but you can give it to my wife, because the support system you have to get called out at 3:00 in the morning on Christmas Eve, to an accident or whatever. These jobs are really hard jobs, and the spouses and their family members that are filling in all those holidays when they can't be there. That's what he was talking about. Correct. He was saying she lives through endless stress. Because of me, do something for her. Like, how is that? How do you interpret that in a way?
It could also just be, like he knows, like you can't gift me, but if you're wanting to do something kind, like he's trying to navigate, a kind gesture.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, go ahead and, do something nice for my wife. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. It's just, so it's just silly.
Yeah, very silly.
Totally silly.
Well, Chris, do you have any questions about why our memes are so great, or why Tuesday's gift game is so strong, or anything that we can answer for you?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I do like your background though, Lydia.
Thank you. It's my favorite place.
Chris, what about your relationship with the O'Keefes now? You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm friends with Peggy. I'm friendly with Mr. O'Keefe. They come in Mr. O'Keefe and Patrick come in my shop all the time. We sit and I talk to Mr. O'Keefe for sometimes 30 minutes at a time. He's a great guy. They're great people. And just the fact that people are trying to make it like, you know, that we're like brainwashed the O'Keefes or something is just absolutely ridiculous. You know, it's silly.
Well, I mean, that's what I was going to say to you. I was going to say that about Mrs. O'Keefe, because I can say I've only met her a couple of times now, and I haven't spoken to her for any length of time like you have, but from the minutes that I've spoken to her, I can certainly say that she is not a woman who is going to be tricked or brainwashed by anyone, and that these people out there are so disrespectful of her to be saying things like that. I mean, she is one of the strongest woman. I mean, what she's endured and continues to endure. And for anyone to think that woman is going to be brainwashed or tricked is, they just have no idea.
It's silly. Yeah. It's silly.
Yeah.
But again, it's just another narrative that they want to spin and try to get it in this, keep saying it over and over again. Right. It's silly. Yeah. So Mr. O'Keefe comes in my pizza shop, but yet he thinks that we're all involved in
right.
It's just, but to these people, it's like they buy anything. It's insane. But
I think they have to at this point, right? I think the girls and I were talking about this because, I think we've talked about it, what if, I think Mike Crawford said it once, a couple of years ago, and Julie will remember when he, started thinking, maybe I got it wrong, after TB went to jail. And I remember him saying, what if we did get this wrong, and what if we did this, look what we did to these people. So I think that even if at this point, because I don't know who would think, that this conspiracy is, has any truth to it at this point, but I don't know how they would all live with themselves for everything they've done and said, and what they've done to you guys.
Yeah. Like you just imagine if they just thought for a minute and just said, what if we're wrong? Like, what if,
right.
They wouldn't, they're so invested that they'd be so ashamed of themselves that they wouldn't know what to do. So they can't allow themselves.
Right.
Only the very rational people. We have seen some people who said I was wrong and I believe you, and it's so rare because people do get dug in, nobody loves to look like a fool, and they would look like fools.
Right.
Really mean.
I feel like I feel like Colin and Jen have gotten it the worst.
Yeah.
You guys think so? Like,
yes.
With the harassment, for some reason, Jen and Colin, and it's so bizarre because even in the conspiracy narrative, like it's just weird that they would hone in on those two people, and with the 227 thing completely debunked over and over. And these people keep saying, how mean Jen is. And it's like, where are you getting this from? Where are you seeing this? I mean,
I think just a woman, right, is, an easier villain, maybe. I can never figure it out either, because
especially a pretty woman who has her life together, who has, loving relationships. She, for some people, that's a threat. It's really sad. I don't know.
I can never figure out the Colin part though, because like Tuesday said, it is always Jen and Colin, or it was.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I mean, he was a young, good-looking kid. He was athletic. There's a lot to be jealous of when it comes to Colin, and I think a lot of it is jealousy.
Yeah.
These people just.
And maybe teenager persona, because he would party as a teenager, so they would take photos of him being out with friends and make it villainized,
just like every other teenager.
Right.
Oh
yeah.
for some
Well,
reason.
the pictures
Oh.
with the middle finger are, what they turned those into
Yeah.
was just ridiculous. That was like a trend. Do you remember like
Yes.
people
Yes.
doing
Yeah.
that? Like they would like flip. I have pictures of my kids when they did that to me, and I was like, knock it off. Like, could you?
But they have this
I mean,
weird scale, and in one little basket of the scale is a normal teenager doing a normal teenage thing. And in the other scale, it's their 17 violent felonies, and somehow it's the kid flipping off the camera that's
Right.
tipping the
Or they
scale.
mock,
How does
they
that
mock
work?
Colin for the donuts, but they also mock Colin for being a teenager online. And
Right.
yeah,
right. Well,
it's a
I mean,
lose-lose.
even the bang bang video. Now, I thought the first time I saw it that it was probably rival athletic groups. And they
Right.
were probably just giving each other a hard time.
Right.
It happens out here all the time. There's a town right next to ours, and the kids would just go at it. They would go at it on Twitter. They would go at it on social media. So when I saw that, it was like a bunch of silly kids
Mhm.
and some kind of rivalry, but they turned it into
Oh my
like
God.
the most ridiculous thing. I
The
mean,
Crips
it
and
was
the Bloods.
obviously
I was going to say, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what they did. I mean, it was just
Yes.
ridiculous. And
Yeah.
then when I would say things like that, they would be like, "Oh, you must, you're just a terrible mother. You're just no,
Right.
I'm not hysterical and I'm not
Right.
melodramatic." And I realize these things happen, and it's not what you're making it out to be
Right.
at all.
Yeah, they had to make a bunch of villains like in
Yep.
the,
Yes.
there's so many different people that were affected, obviously at
Yeah.
different different levels. Everyone's endured a lot. I mean, my brother Brian's endured a lot. Brian Higgins has endured a lot. Obviously, my son has endured immensely a ton of shit. Jen has endured a lot. For some reason, they go after certain people, and it's just I can't explain it. I don't know why, but it's amazing how someone's willing to destroy so many people.
Mhm.
And it's just, oh God, it's just.
It is.
Chris, one of the things I wanted to ask you, both my parents are gone, but I know that if it was me and my husband and their grandchild, it would probably kill my parents. How are your parents dealing with it?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
both of my parents are still alive. My dad's in his early 80s. My mom's in her late 70s, and I'm not going to lie, it's definitely done a lot to my parents. I mean, it's maybe they both lived to be 100. Maybe they both would have lived to be 100, but not anymore. This has taken years off their life, and is such a toll. I mean, the amount of damage that's been caused to my family is just it'll never be healed. And my parents will, unfortunately, they'll go to their grave thinking about what happened to their children and to their grandchildren and it's sad, and it's unforgivable what they've done.
I agree. I think people don't realize the amount of victims that have been created. And I think it was Brian Jr. had said something about his grandfather, and it kind of hit me like, oh my God, like their parents have to sit and watch this. And it's, your parents are older, time is fleeting. And for them to have this kind of stress,
Oh
it
God.
just breaks my heart. Breaks my heart.
These crazy people don't care. They just don't care. Like, how would they like it if this was their parents? Like, it's just, it's depressing. It's to watch your parents, have to see this happen. It's, it's sad.
Yeah. I'm sure they have probably spent nights, just laying in bed awake thinking about it, which breaks my heart. Like I said, just kills me to think about that.
That was a great question.
Yeah.
I think I was just thinking when Julie was just talking about, the Bang Bang sports video and all that stuff. And I was just thinking how crazy it is, right? And I know the girls and I talk about this all the time where, they're talking about stuff like that 24/7, and they're talking about Colin's knuckles, which weren't, and all this, but, they're never talking about, Karen's car reversing at 24 miles an hour, up to 80 feet, 75% throttle at the exact same time John O'Keefe stopped moving forever. Like, those are the things that drives
Why would they? Yeah. Why would they talk about that?
Right? Like, it's just, but they're talking about, Colin's video with another sports team, or, his knuckles, or, what Jen wore, to a wedding. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's so much more work than the truth.
Right? Right. Yeah. It's
But
crazy.
not as fun.
No.
Right.
That's
Right.
Lydia said that to me the other day. I forget. She said some line that stuck with me since. Like, it's not as, it's not as fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't sell.
Nope.
Yeah. That's okay. We'll hang out with our low budget and the truth.
Very boring
It's
show.
fun. And our boring show that helps people with insomnia. I'm proud of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. We're giving a service here. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Deep, relaxing sleep YouTube show.
Well, Chris, is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Well, first off, thank you for having me on tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to be a member of this little panel here. And I just want to thank everyone who has supported us and that continues to support us. I know it's not the easy thing to do when it's so much easier just to ridicule, mock, and hurt people. But the truth is on our side, and the truth will always prevail. And I want to thank all you guys for having me on tonight, and thank you to all of our supporters. We're truly blessed to have so many people in our corner. And keep up the good fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Well, thank you for coming, Chris, and we
Thanks
wish you
for
the
having me.
best.
You would agree with me that Nevercracker wouldn't like a photo of somebody on his lawn with drinks in their hands, correct?
The cartoon character, Nevercracker?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. Correct.
And the food that you ordered, do you remember what appetizers you would have gotten?
Probably like potato skins and some sort of chicken tenders. I would guess. It's 2 years ago, so I don't remember exactly.
All right, and did you order a drink along with the appetizers? In fact, your son Colin was a football player through high school, was he not?
Yes.
What was his number?
In high school?
Yes.
34, I believe.
And was that for 34 Fairview?
I don't think so.